We're going to look at how to use the point slope formula in relation to when you're given 2 points. So to write a linear equation given 2 points, you're going to follow this process. First of all, you have to use those 2 points to figure out what the slope is, because part of the point slope formula requires that you know what the slope is. So step 1, you're going to use the m equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Then you will choose one of those 2 points to use in your point slope formula. So let's take a look at an example. Here we have a point -3, 7 and 1, -1. So first let's label our x1, y1, and then the x2, y2. Okay, so the slope formula again is m equals y2, so that's -1, minus y1, which is 7, over x2, which is 1, minus -3. Okay, this is hard to do with my little trackpad. Okay, now let's do our calculations. So -1 minus 7 is -8. And we'll put that over 1 minus -3, which will be a +4. And then we can simplify that to be -2. So there is the m for our point slope formula. Okay, so point slope formula, remember it's y minus y1. So let's see, what was y1? y1 is 7 equals our slope, which is -2, parentheses x1, or I'm sorry, x minus x1, which is -3, and close parentheses. So remember, we are going to focus in on those parentheses first. So we're just going to bring down the y minus 7 equals, and then those parentheses we know means we need to distribute. So we're going to distribute that -2 inside, and when we distribute, we're going to multiply. But before we even do that, I'm going to make note of this subtraction and negative sign. So remember, when we see that, we want to immediately think to change our signs to plus and addition to make it simpler to deal with. Okay, so now back to distribution. So -2 times x is 2, or -2x. And then -2 times +3 is a -6. So now we almost have our equation of a line in that slope-intercept form. So the last thing to do is to get the y by itself. So we're going to add 7 on both sides. And when we do that, we get y equals -2x, and then -6 plus 7 would give us a +2. So there is example number 7, And there is our equation of our line and slope-intercept form. Okay, one more example. Here we have 2 points again, -6, -7, and 3, -4. So remember, we're going to start by figuring out what our slope is, because a point slope formula requires that we know what our slope is. So that's that. M equals y sub 2 minus y sub 1, x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So let me backtrack here and label my points. It's really good to be in the habit of doing that, I feel, because I may need to erase there. It's easy to get a little confused or turned around as to what you're looking at, or mix up your x's and your y's. So let me erase that a little bit right there. Okay, let's try that again. Alright, so M is the variable for slope. So let's substitute into that slope formula. So we start with our y's. So y sub 2 is -4 minus y sub 1, which is -7. And here we've got those tricky signs. We'll get to that in a minute. And then x2, or x sub 2, so that's 3 minus x sub 1, which is -6. Okay, so let's see, what's the slope given these 2 points? Real quick, we're going to go and notice that we've got a minus and a negative, so that's going to change to a plus. That'll make our calculations a little bit easier to look at. So -4 plus 7 is going to be a +3, and 3 plus 6 is 9. So here we've got a fraction or a slope that you may or may not be able to tell needs to be simplified, but I can see that it does. So, but if I didn't, I can always put this in my calculator. So I'd do 3 divided by 9, and then math, enter, will simplify my fraction. So it should give you 1/3 is your slope. Okay, now to our point slope formula. So we know that we need to do a y minus y sub 1. So y sub 1 is -7 equals the slope that we just found, which is 1/3, parentheses, x minus x sub 1, so that's -6, close parentheses. Okay, real quick, I'm going to take care of that minus by making it a plus, and I'll do that over here too, plus. Okay, now back to our problem. Okay, so let's see, y, now it's going to be +7. I'm just going to rewrite that because we're not going to mess with that just yet, equals, and now here's my parentheses, so I know I need to distribute that 1/3 inside, which means to multiply. So 1/3 times x is just 1/3 x, and then 1/3 times 6 will give me a +2. Okay, we're almost done. So now we just need to get the y totally by itself. So we're going to subtract 7 on both sides.
Jonathan, good time.
So y equals 1/3 x minus 5. So there's our equation of our lawn given 2 points.